For years, we've been chasing the wrong idea of what it means to be a masterful communicator. We think it's about perfect polish, theatrics, and never stumbling over our words. But my friend and communications coach, Dia Bondi, completely capsized that idea for me. She says communication isn't just about transacting information. Let's be real. That's what email's for. It is a strike point for your leadership. True mastery is actually just three things: courage, control, and impact. But here's the kicker. You cannot speak from the heart or have courage without an internal compass. And today, we're digging into Dia's platform map, a 4-part framework to help you stop performing, figure out exactly who you are, and build the foundation for your true leadership voice. I'm Andrea Libros, and welcome back to She Thinks Big. Today, we're going to talk about something that sits beneath every single goal you have, every single goal I have. We are going to talk about what is actually underneath your spreadsheets, your strategic plans, and yes, even your laundry piles. We are going to talk about your internal compass, your leadership voice, and the true infrastructure of your belief. In October of 2025, I traveled to the Kenwood Ranch in Sonoma County, California. It was beautiful, by the way. We were up on a hill and we were at a vineyard, and inside this barn, basically, I met Dia Bondi as well as some other amazing folks. And over a 2.5-day period of time, I participated in a retreat called the Transformational Voice Intensive. It was a cohort-based group coaching experience led by the incredible leadership communications coach named Dia Bondi. And if you haven't listened to my episode with Dia, you need to go back just one episode 265. You need to listen to that episode with Dia as a precursor to this episode. So make sure you go listen to that. But when I was there, when it was the first time I had met Dia in person, I really was able to understand her entire mission. And her entire mission in the world is to help ambitious, high-impact professionals use their voices, not just to transact information, because remember, that's what email is for, but to use their voices as a true kind of strike point for their leadership. So I was inside this small group, which Dia called the Live Oak Cohort. She names all of her cohorts after trees. And I was sitting at a table with Shama and John Bunton, the founders of a venture capital firm, Cammie Thompson, a corporate key account manager, Amy Mathers, a professor of pathology and infectious diseases at UVA, and actually a world-renowned authority on those topics, who travels around the world and even goes to the UN to speak on such things. And then Sandra Amin, who is a marketing agency owner. So I was sitting amongst these brilliant, high capacity minds, and it became instantly clear to me, whatever your industry, we are all searching for the same exact thing. We are trying to figure out how to lead and speak powerfully. We've kind of all been chasing the wrong idea. We've been chasing that this mastery is about absolute perfection. And we think about robotic tactics, perfect polish, delivering a flawless TED Talk where you never stumble over your words. You certainly never sweat. Dia taught us that it's actually just these three things: courage, control, and impact. Number one, courage. Courage means speaking from the heart, saying what you actually mean in a way that perfectly aligns with who you truly are at your core. Then second, control. It is not about being in control of the moment, because things will always go off script, as this podcast is a testament to. Mastery is staying in control in the moment, remaining grounded and authentic, even if you stumble or you get stuck. And then finally, impact. Are you actually having a resonant effect on the person listening to you? Here's the truth. You cannot speak from the heart if you don't know what's in it. You cannot have courage without an internal compass. To help us find that compass, Dia walked us through a framework she developed after 6,000 coaching sessions. And this framework she calls the platform map. Now, I need to be clear. The platform map is not a sales brochure. It is not a publishable brand strategy document that you could hand out at networking events. And it's a 4-part framework. It's designed to define exactly who you are so that you can speak from that foundation. Now, before we dig into that platform map, Dia had us share stories from our past. I shared 2 major moments of impact in my life. One was winning a golf tournament, and the other was moving to Houston shortly after I got married. She had us share these moments because they were moments of impact. The moment of impact in winning that golf tournament sounds stupid, but at age, 53, I guess, I won this golf tournament. It was impactful for me because it showed me that, number one, if I work at something, I can still get good at it. Number two, and this is kind of a backstory, I grew up in a household where my brother played collegiate golf. He was really good at golf. He is still really good at golf. And I never held a golf club. I didn't even own a set of golf clubs growing up. Golf is kind of like a life skill, and it can help you later in life. And no one in my house ever said, "Hey, Andrea, you should do this." Winning this golf tournament at 53, it was a moment of impact for me. It was transformational. And then I shared a story about how I moved to Houston, Texas, like 2 weeks after I got married, with my new husband, and we knew absolutely no one there. And I had to figure out how to make a life for myself down there in a situation where I knew no one, but also was with someone who was working 24 hours a day. And that whole experience was very impactful for me too. And it was transformational. I arrived with those 2 stories in my back pocket. And Dia also asked us to arrive with 3 big questions that we wanted to answer while we were there. And mine were, what is it for me to show up as an essential voice? What is my voice outside of my intellectual property? Meaning, how do I grow the She Thinks Big brand beyond just my personal presence? And my third question was, how do I lead with my why instead of defaulting to the what and the how? So today I want to share with you my personal map because it answers all of these 3 questions. And you're going to see how my stories that I came with also get intertwined into this map. And I want to share this with you, this whole concept of a platform map, the body of work that Dia did, and how I integrated all into it. And I'm doing this not to sell you on the logistics of my business, but to show you the absolute truth behind everything I do and everything I bring to you on this podcast. The platform map is broken into 4 quadrants. It's like a compass. And the first quadrant is purpose. Now, when Dia asks about purpose, she doesn't want your job description. Instead, she asks a deeply probing question. What am I doing no matter what I'm doing? What is the role that you play in the room? When I looked back over my life, I realized my purpose is driven by 4 things: the illumination of possibility, the courage to believe rather than prove, the commitment to substance over surface, and I think most importantly, the intimacy of transformation. I am here for that quiet internal moment when belief shifts and a capable woman begins to trust herself for real. That is the change I care most about protecting. And let me tell you what that intimacy actually looks like. So A few years ago, I was working with a highly successful business owner. On paper, she had everything. This is sort of the typical client that I work with, but she was really terrified to make her next key hire. She had run the numbers, the spreadsheets made sense, the strategy was flawless. But during one of our coaching sessions, there was this really heavy silence, and I just got really quiet and I stopped talking about the strategy and I just held the space for her fear. And in that quietness, I literally watched her physical posture change. I watched her take a deep breath, look at me, and say, I am actually capable of not just hiring this person, but leading this person. And she didn't say that really loud. It wasn't a firework moment. It was kind of an intimate internal shift where her belief finally locked into place and allowed her to make that next move. And witnessing that shift, that intimacy of transformation is really at the core of my purpose. So that brings us to the second quadrant of this platform map, which is provenance. And this is the origin story of the person behind the purpose. So Dia asked us, as you look back over the accomplishments you are most proud of, what is the common driver? So when I dug into my own history, I realized the best way to describe myself is that I am kind of like a general contractor for belief. And let me explain that with what I call the bonfire metaphor. Think about a massive, roaring bonfire. It does not burn brighter just because you stand there and you want it to, right? It burns because someone built the scaffolding around it correctly. When I was a freshman in college, we had this tradition where at homecoming, there was a bonfire that got built on the main campus green. And the bonfire was supposed to be the number of stories high or the number of planks high as the number year in which you graduated. So I'm going to date myself. I graduated in 1994. So this bonfire was supposed to be 94 stories, we'll call it high. I don't even know if that really happened. And now it's illegal to go that high, but 1994, it wasn't. So this bonfire metaphor is really a powerful one for me and one where I can actually visualize something because that flame inside that bonfire was only going to get as tall as the scaffolding around that. And so if someone doesn't build that scaffolding correctly, then the flame is going to go out. Or if someone doesn't build that scaffolding correctly, the belief, right, is going to disappear in a sense. But if you have the right infrastructure, the right belief, the warmth and light is going to be created, or the momentum in your life is going to be created. The thing that other people can gather around is going to continue to shine. So I work alongside leaders to design and build that infrastructure, that those planks that hold up that flame, that allows their decisions, their leadership, and their strategy to hold. And the truth is, I've been doing long before I ever called myself a coach. Years ago, I was really involved in organizing this massive community initiative, we'll call it. And I had a group of pretty passionate volunteers with a ton of fire and a ton of desire to make this event happen. But let me tell you, they were scattered and exhausted, and the project was sort of falling apart. And I naturally stepped in, not to be the loud visionary, but really build the scaffolding. I created the timelines, I organized the team, I built the internal systems so that their passion actually had a structure to rest on and the event actually could take off. So I feel like I've always been this general contractor. Now we move into this bottom half of the compass or the platform map, which holds both point of view and playbook. And Dia gave us this incredible prompt. If you could speak to a stadium of people and be guaranteed a standing ovation, what is the one topic that you would speak about? And my point of view which is this third quadrant, is directly a response to a massive problem I see every single day. And I call it outworking disbelief. I see high capacity women leading businesses everywhere who are working harder, but they aren't leading freer. They aren't creating the freedom that they want. They have the strategy, but their execution collapses. They're constantly chasing confidence instead of building it. And as a result, their leadership becomes really performative and totally exhausting. The exact message I would shout to that stadium of people is that belief is structural. So listen, your strategy is not broken. Your belief might be. Belief is not just some fluffy mindset or a temporary burst of motivation. Belief is infrastructure. And absolutely no plan or strategy works if your internal system rejects it, because belief is internal. You need to understand that belief is entirely rooted in your brain's chemistry. Your belief is brain-based. It's a brain-based prediction system. And when you constantly doubt yourself, your cortisol spikes and your brain goes into this survival mode. You cannot lead effectively, and you certainly can't be a present partner or parent or owner when your nervous system is just trying to survive the day. But when you actually believe in yourself, it changes your brain chemistry. It boosts your dopamine. Your brain has a filter called the reticular activating system, or the RAS, that literally shapes your reality based on what you believe. So if you believe that you are going to fail this launch, or this client won't say yes, your reticular activating system will only show you evidence of failure. We have to change the structure of your belief to change what your brain allows you to see. When I say you can't outwork disbelief, you can't. You have to change what's going on inside you. So to fix that problem, I am going to bring you to the playbook. And I use a playbook that I have named Architecting Belief. And in my world, we just don't talk about believing in ourselves, we operationalize it. We use the She Thinks Big Trust framework, the belief bridge, and we embed belief plans right inside your business strategy. So I want to go a little deeper on this. And I want to share with you the 5 plays of belief-led leadership. So these are the 5 plays in the playbook. Play 1, stop trying to outwork disbelief. You cannot hustle your way out of a belief problem. Play 2, put a belief plan inside every business plan. Every time you write down a financial goal, you need a matching plan for what you must believe to make it happen. So you need to put a belief plan inside every business plan. That's play 2. Play 3, start each day with a to believe list. We all have a mile-long to-do list, especially when you're juggling your business and your life. But you need to treat your to believe list with the exact same weight as your to-do list. And in fact, that to believe list might even replace your to-do list. And there is a podcast on that, which I will link in the show notes. Play 4, make your beliefs public. Stop hiding. There's a podcast on this. Are you catching on here? All of these plays are things that I talk about all the time. And then play 5, harvest belief from within. So belief grows from evidence. And I teach my clients to look for even the tiniest piece of evidence that they are capable. And we harvest that to build the scaffolding for the next big leap. So the final quadrant of the map is principles, which Dia defines as your values in action. So during the intensive, I wrote down the operating principles that guide everything I do. And this is what I wrote. Fun fuels follow through. Structure creates freedom. Ease creates value. And you've got to bet on yourself, because if you don't bet on yourself, who will? These aren't just cute sayings, although they are kind of cute. They are actual rules for how I run my business and how I hold my clients accountable. And if you go back to the episode where I interview Brittany, she actually talks about this bet on yourself. Let's wrap this up. When you put all 4 of these quadrants together, it creates one ultimate transformation. Andrea calls that the conviction that holds. When we put these plays into action, we're creating 4 very specific things in your life and business. We're creating inner authority, we're creating open space, we're creating steady structure, and we're creating supported leadership. You finally then get the space to breathe. You get that freedom. You get a structure that actually creates the freedom instead of trapping you. And it is the shift from constantly proving your worth to simply leading. It's the shift from overthinking to making clear decisions, from white knuckling your way through the day to experiencing supported leadership, and from moving from what sometimes feels like burnout to some sustainable authority. Creating this platform map for me was profound because it really gave me my own ultimate filter. If something doesn't fit in to these 4 quadrants, it's really just noise. So Dia loves to quote Miles Davis. I learned that at our transformative voice intensive. And Miles Davis says, it takes a long time to sound like yourself. That's a quote from him. And it does. It does take a long time to sound like yourself. It has taken me years, I think, to sound like myself. This exercise and this point of view part of it clarified for me exactly how I want to help the world, how I want to help you. So if you're listening to this right now and realizing that you are outworking your own disbelief, if you have the strategy, but your execution is constantly collapsing because your internal scaffolding just isn't there, it is time to bring in a general contractor to help you build. And that, my friends, is exactly what I do in my coaching practice. I work alongside women leading businesses to design and build that internal infrastructure that allows your strategy to actually hold up. She Thinks Big is hosted by me, Andrea Libros. If today's conversation hits home, share it with another leader who needs to hear this. Follow the show wherever you're listening and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. For more on all things She Thinks Big, follow me on Instagram at andrea.libros.coaching. And if you're ready to stop playing small and start owning your presence, I'd love to connect with you. Book a call with me at andrealibros.com. See you next week for a brand new episode. Till then, think big.